Okay, so if you need some help making just a simple chess set, one that you can get done pretty quickly, if you just need to kind of drop back and make something that's a little bit more doable to get done in a short amount of time, here's what you need to do. First off, go to the internet. So I'm going to go over here to internet, and I'm going to just type in chess sets. And when I type in chess sets, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go over to images. And I'm going to scroll down through here and just find a nice side view of a chess set. That one's okay, but this one's even better. So look at that. It's a nice picture, easy to see. So I'm going to click on it, come over here to the side, right-click on it, and go Save Image As. I'm going to save image as. It's going to save it. It needs to be a JPEG or a PNG, some type of image that will open up easily. Save it to somewhere where you know it's going to be. Right here, I'm going to save it to this temp file, and I'm going to save it as chess set. So I know where it is. It's under my file called temp, and save, and there we go. Now I'm going to go back to CAD. In CAD, I'm going to go up to the Insert tab at the top. I'm going to come over to Attach, and I'm going to go to that folder where I saved it to. Mine was on the desktop, and again in that temp folder. Temp, scroll down here, there's my chess set. I'm going to go OK. And I'm going to place that thing in there. I'm just going to scale it here, whatever size, for now. There. Beautiful. Next, I want to actually set the size, the height of this thing. So what I'm going to do is I want the tallest piece to be 2.75 inches. The tallest chess piece is that. That's our max size. So I'm going to come over here to my Home tab and measure this. Now, this top part, it gets awful thin. I think it's going to be out of scale. So I'm not going to worry about going all the way to the top. I'm just going to go down to about maybe here. I'm going to make a little bit shorter thing maybe on the top of it. So I'm going to go from about there down to about the bottom of it there and bring that over. I'm 1.4629 inches tall. Well, I need to do some math, so I'm going to bring up my calculator. I want to scale it to the size I need it to be, which is 2.75. So I'm going to do some math. I'm going to take 1.4629 divided by the size I want it to be, 2.75, and I did it backwards. I almost always do that backwards. So I'm going to try it again. 2.75, the size I want it to be, divided by the size that it is, 2.4629 equals 1.89, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to copy that entire number. Control-C. Copied it. Highlighted it, copied it. Going to come back to CAD. Going to go Scale. Going to select my picture and my dimension. Pick my base point just anywhere. Come down here below, and I have to click in the toolbar down here, or in the command line, and Control-V, paste that text in there, that big old number, and hit Enter. And look at that. I'm at 2.7501 inches tall. I'm a 10,000th of an inch too tall. That's okay. And now I just need to start making my pieces. I mean, I can measure here to make sure. This one can't be any more than 1 inch across on the base, so let's measure it. Right there, I'm 0.85. That's okay. I probably am going to do something a little bit different here, and I'll show you that here just right now. So, now, I just got to trace this curve of it. It doesn't have to be anything perfect, but I'm going to trace the curve. I'm going to start down here on the bottom with the line. Here, I'm going to come straight out to the side. And I'm going to turn my polar tracking on there. Straight out to the side. And I'm going to cheat this a little bit. I'm going to go from here. I'm actually going to do it kind of back. Yeah, I'm not. Actually, sorry, I'm kind of double talking here. I'm going to go from here. I'm going to come straight over to about right there. That's a great looking little line there. I'm going to make an arc. And I'm going to turn my O-snap on here, something a little bit more meaningful. I'm going to set it to my end point. I'm going to draw an arc. Oh, why can't I draw my arc? Oh, I didn't turn my O-snap on. There we go. Goodness. I'm going to draw an arc. Looks something about maybe like that to there. I'm going to draw another arc. Maybe looks like something like about that there. I'm going to draw a third arc. Come up here, something about like that. Got that in a little bit too far, so I'm going to adjust it out just a little bit. Something maybe about like that. Here, I think a line from there out to maybe about there. Going to do an arc now. Again, maybe something about like that. I'm gonna make this a little bit smoother here in just a moment to about there. And then on this one, you know, honestly, I think I'm just gonna draw a circle that starts about here, about like that. Sure. Okay. Now that whole thing down, it looks okay, but you notice here it's a little bit rough. So I'm gonna go in there. I'm gonna highlight those grips and adjust this up a little bit. It doesn't have to match this pattern I've got perfectly by any means, but I do want it to be nice and smooth. So there, you can see, oh, a lot smoother transitions there. Maybe a little bit better here. Oh, that looks really nice. Now I'm going to go down here. Down to here, this one's off just a little bit, so let me make that a little bit smoother by adjusting that pair of grips to there. And then maybe last but not least, this one down here. I really think that looks pretty good. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to draw a line down the middle of this thing. So I'm going to draw it from the center of this pawn, or sorry, the circle, and straight down to the bottom to there. Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and extend this line on up a little bit. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw this half of it. Just to make it easier, I'm going to turn my picture on. I'm going to put it onto a new layer. So if you remember how to do that, we're going to come up here to Layer Control. And I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to name it Picture. And I'm going to close out of that. And I'm going to put my picture on that picture layer. So I'm going to select it, go back to my Home tab, and put it on the picture layer. Beautiful. And hit Escape there, cancel out of it. Now I'm going to come back up to here. Oh, come on, if I can get there. There. And freeze my picture layer. So now my picture's gone temporarily. And I'm going to come in here, I'm going to trim up this half of it. I have to trim out that line there. Down here on the bottom, I can't really trim that out. I've got to make that corner meet. So I can either drag these across or just fill up that bottom corner, however. So I'm going to trim again, trim those two off. And there is a good looking one half of a pawn. I'm going to go ahead and region this. Region. Go to my conceptual, make sure I got it regioned. Yes, I did. And then I'm going to revolve it. REV, revolve. Center line, I'm going to go up here to the top, down to the bottom, and just hit enter. That is a beautiful looking pawn. Let's make sure it's within specs. Top to bottom. I'm 1.63 inches tall. My max is 2. Width, I am all over that. 0.9627. Max is 1. That is a beautiful looking pawn. Pawn is done. And that was 8 minutes worth of video. I know you won't go quite that fast probably, but 8 minutes, that is done. You could be done with a beautiful looking pawn just like this, and I would say 20 minutes or less. All right, next, let's look at another piece. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go to my layer control. Let's see here. Unfreeze my picture layer. And I'm going to look at a couple of these. Okay, next, the rook here is the next one over. Notice it has some little slots cut into it. You can still easily do that. You don't have to do it by any means, but if you want to add that next little step, you can trace it just the same as what I just did. And then to do the little grooves, you're going to put just a square box in there, array it around from the top view, and subtract it out. And I'll make those little grooves cut in there. These grooves, remember, have to be at least 0.05 wide, and that would make a great looking little rook. Next, coming over here, and I'm going to skip over a little bit, over here to the bishop. The bishop, notice, has a little slot cut through it. Again, you don't have to do that slot, but if you did do that slot, I would draw, again, a box. Make that box 0.05 wide. Move it down in place, maybe rotate it so it's at this angle that it's showing here, and subtract it out. Again, remember, the width of it has to be at least 0.05 wide. And there you're great. On the top of it, it has this little ball kind of up here on the top. That ball, you'd want to make it at least a 0.1 diameter. So 0.1 diameter there on that, and that would work just fine, and it'd hold onto there just fine. Queen, basically the same. I just draw this. Make sure, again, that ball is at least 0.1 diameter, and it connects onto here. At least 0.1 of an inch connection, and you're going to be great. For For the king, the reason I didn't make the king quite so tall is this stuck up probably a little bit too far. You're going to need to make this a little bit shorter on the top for if you want to do a little cross on it. And if you don't want to do the cross on it, that's kind of the next level. Don't worry about it. Just make it straight across on top and it's just fine. The other one little tidbit I just thought about that we need to double check is on this. The minimum width of this in our specs is 0.2 of an inch. So let's measure this and make sure this is 0.2. So I'm going to go from there to there. And we're 0.24. We're good. Has to be at least 0.2 there because that's that minimum spec. And again, all these little necks here have to be at least 0.2. But it looks like if you trace these, you're going to be great. Okay, now we get to our most difficult one. The knight. The knight over here is a horse. This horse is going to be, it's very difficult to make the horse look like this. So, you know what? Don't worry about making the horse look like this because getting all those contours in there is going to be very difficult. You can trace around the shape of the head here just fine. I would probably ignore the little mane here and come on down on this portion of it here. The base of it here, honestly, you'd make this base the same way we just made all those other pieces and revolve this base around. But once you trace around this and you get that horse shape, and I can start doing that here real quick, I guess. Trace around this horse, there to there, sure. Make an arc up to here. But once you trace around this, you're just going to region it and extrude it. It's going to be kind of a kind of a fat horse shape. But, you know, it is what it is. It's going to be kind of blocky, but it's going to be just fine. I don't even have the skills. I'm not this artistic to draw an actual horse shape here. So I really simplify my horse a lot or just did something differently when I did mine. So whatever you end up doing on this is going to be just fine, and I'm not going to complain about it. So just do your best. And honestly, I'm going to pause the video while I'm tracing around this. You don't need to watch me trace this whole thing, and I'll come right back. Okay, so here is the traced portion of this knight. And all I'm going to do there is I'm going to come back up above. I'm going to freeze my picture layer. I'm just going to region this. And I'm going to extrude it. The amount I extrude it, I don't know. I'm going to try 0.4 and see what that looks like. So I'm going to go 0.4 there. And there is a nice looking little horse. It's not beautiful, but it is what it is. It's fine. It's going to be a rook there. Or a knight, sorry. So now next. Okay, so now what I do here is I unfreeze my picture again, and now I'm just going to make this base for this horse. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to draw a line that, I'm going to turn my O stamp off for a second. That goes to about the midpoint there, straight on out over to here. Oh, goodness, I didn't get a line command in. Let's try that one more time. Line about to there. Come here with an arc and draw my arc around something kind of like so. Another arc like that. And then maybe just straight up here. All right. I'm going to pause this and finish it. All right, so once again, so now this portion is done. I'm going to go ahead and region that. And I'm going to go ahead and revolve that. Revolve. Center line right here. Down to there. And there's a beautiful little base for this piece. Let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and freeze my picture. Get it off of there. Now, let's see here. Okay, so there this thing is done. Obviously, my horse is not centered up on there real well. So I'm going to go ahead and move my horse. I think I should be able to just move my horse in this direction and move it 0.2. All right, so there that piece is. That knight is on there. Looking really pretty good. It's kind of hanging over this edge just a little bit. So, you know, maybe I'd have to slide it back there just a little bit. But that's just really a pretty minor little step. Again, not all the details in the world to that horse. If you wanted to, you could maybe add a hole up here for an eye, draw on a cylinder and subtract that out. But there's that one. So hopefully this helps, and it's a little bit of explanation how you can kind of make a simplified chess set. Honestly, this first one should be a 20-minute thing, and the next one should maybe be 30 minutes apiece. I know this is still some time, but you should be able to get through this pretty quickly. All right, good luck. Oh, if I just lost my video, I'm going to be ticked.